Cable Service, CCI Industry. Fire can break out on ships, oil platforms, in buildings, theatres, underground railways, hospitals, airports, tunnels, or in any situation. Personal survival and damage containment depend on emergency systems, often powered by electrical cables. During a fire, maintaining the electrical integrity of cables is what guarantees the operation of all emergency devices, lighting, ventilation and sprinkler systems amongst others, allowing people to evacuate the affected areas. CCI, a company specializing in cables for naval and offshore use, has patented its innovative Firebar cable with unique fire-resistant properties. Firebar guarantees total safety of operation during a fire and its subsequent extinguishing. During laying, electrical cable is often subjected to inevitable mechanical pulling and bending stresses. By their nature, fire-resistant cables are among the most vulnerable during the installation phase. To demonstrate the integrity of its Firebar cable, even after it is laid, CCI designed and built a test machine that creates a controlled simulation of pulling and bending stresses. At the laboratories of Warrington Fire Test Centre in Warrington, England, 7 different samples of Firebar cable, after being subjected to pulling and bending stresses by CCI, were then subjected to fire tests under the requirements of British Standard BS 7846 Category F3. This is, without doubt, one of the strictest and most complete standards, and includes resistance to water spray during fire extinguishing operations. To demonstrate even further the amazing properties of Firebar, the test parameters were greatly intensified and were applied simultaneously to the test samples. Additional, more onerous test conditions, not covered by any industrial standard, were also added. The flame applied to the cable has a temperature of 1000 degrees centigrade instead of the 830 required. The test voltage is always 1000 volts, even when only 250 is required. The test time under these conditions is extended to 60 minutes instead of the required 30 minutes. At the same time, the backing board carrying the test sample was subjected to mechanical shocks every few seconds instead of every 5 minutes as required by the standard. According to recent findings, these repeated shocks simulate the period of heaviest operational stress under which a fire-resistant cable can operate in the event of a fire. An example of this stress would be the mechanical jolts generated by the progressive collapse of the structure the cable is attached to. When firefighters bring a fire under control, it is obvious that jets of water from fire hoses will come into contact with electrical cables. With normal fire-resistant cables, a single spray of water could cause an instant short circuit and the immediate stoppage of electrically operated equipment. Water spray forms the final testing phase specified by the standard. The test simulates sprays from fire hoses, and it consists of a water spray on the samples whilst they are carrying a voltage of 1000 volts. The standard stops here, but Firebar continues. Having met the BS 7846 standard under the conditions specified in Category F3, Firebar cable shows itself to be much more than merely resistant to the water spray applied to it, at 1000 degrees centigrade, under a load of 1000 volts, and under the continual mechanical shocks that generate dangerous friction on the insulation. The cable, already burned and completely soaked, is brought again to a temperature of 1000 degrees centigrade. Firebar is actually demonstrated to be waterproof. The cable maintains its electrical conductivity even when the area already damaged by fire is completely immersed for an indeterminate period. In the test, it is set to 15 minutes, and still subjected to continual mechanical shocks. The patented Firebar process is equally applicable both to electrical cables sheathed in rubber and in thermoplastic. The exceptional resistance to fire and water of CCI's Firebar cable solves the problem of fire-resistant cables at one sweep, since its endurance levels are much higher than those specified in the toughest standards. Yet its installation procedures and costs are comparable to those for normal cables. Firebar, the total safety cable.